President Trump.
All right, folks, buckle up. Trump just dropped a massive economic move, cutting tariffs on everyday food items. And suddenly, the media is scrambling to decide if prices are about to fall or if they should pretend everything was already great under Biden. Meanwhile, Trump's also floating a 50-year mortgage and rebate checks to fix the affordability crisis Biden left behind. So, in this clip, we're watching the media react in real time, asking, can Trump actually bring prices down? Let's dive in, and of course, I'll react with the facts the mainstream conveniently forgets. Here we go.
Issuing an executive order to drop reciprocal tariffs on dozens of food items, including staples like coffee, beef, bananas, and tomatoes.
Okay, right off the bat, those are staples. Coffee, beef, tomatoes, bananas. This isn't luxury stuff. This is what people buy every single week. Cutting tariffs on these alone will make a bigger difference in the average American household than anything Biden touched in 4 years. And let's be real, Biden's idea of helping was telling you inflation was imaginary while your grocery bill tripled. Trump's actually targeting the stuff you feel. Good start.
The move marks a major push by the administration to address Americans' concerns over persistently high prices. Here's the president last night.
Look, for the most part, the foods, when we cut back a little bit on those tariffs, we'll get the price down, but they're not competitive in this country, like tomatoes and bananas and things. We don't make them in this country.
See, this is what I love. Trump speaking plain English. We don't grow tomatoes and bananas competitively here. Exactly. Why were we paying tariffs on stuff we don't even produce? Biden's policies worked like a bad subscription service, charging Americans extra for no reason. Trump's cutting the nonsense. You reduce pointless tariffs and boom, prices drop. Common sense, something DC forgot existed.
So there's no protection of our industries or our food products. You have to understand, we've all suffered from the Biden prices, which were much higher than they are right now.
Thank you. Someone finally saying it on air. Everyone remembers Bidenflation, the great American wallet massacre. It wasn't transitory, it wasn't global, and it definitely wasn't Putin's price hike. It was Biden. If your grocery bill went from $120 to $260, you didn't imagine that. Trump is basically cleaning up Biden's mess with Windex, while Democrats pretend the glass was spotless the whole time.
But I'll be able to get them down even lower, at least a little bit lower, possibly in some cases a lot lower.
The new exemptions fueled by price increases you might be seeing at your grocery stores. As of September, the average retail price for coffee is up more than 40% in the past year.
40%. 40. Imagine telling Americans, relax, inflation is only 3%, while the drink that keeps half the country functional shot up nearly 50%. And yes, Democrats will swear this isn't Biden's doing, just like toddlers blaming invisible monsters for spilled juice. This is why tariff cuts matter. If Trump can shave even 10-15% off these spikes, people will feel it instantly.
And that's not all. Bananas and ground beef prices are also soaring. Bananas up 6.6% since last year and ground beef up 11.5%. That's well ahead of the overall inflation rate of about 3%.
Well, this is good news for coffee.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Most of us enjoy it.
Yeah, we do. The coffee coming, a lot of it from overseas, Colombia, Vietnam.
So can't grow coffee in America.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, a lot of those countries are going to be really happy to have their products come in. The question is this going to be enough?
Well, and that is the question, Rachel, and it's important that President Trump and this administration realizes that things like gas prices are down, eggs are down, but yet they're still feeling the pinch.
Fuel is down.
This is, remember, we just went through 4 years of the Biden administration where everything became unaffordable. Now the president's trying to find specific places to target, and we've talked a lot about the beef prices on this show here, and so hopefully this will go some way towards trying to bring them down across the board when you go to the grocery store.
I think people are happy to see that he's attempting to do something. Remember when there was inflation rising under the Joe Biden administration, they said, well, this is just transitory.
Right.
They tried to gaslight you.
This is why people trust Trump more on the economy. He doesn't gaslight. He doesn't shove buzzwords down your throat. He says, prices are too damn high. Here's a policy that affects prices. Wild concept, apparently.
and tell you it wasn't happening. And then the egg prices were a big deal. And then President Trump came in and he put Brooke Rollins on that. And right away, we got egg prices down. So there are things that the government can do. But part of this is just this. He also probably needs to explain that these tariffs are part of a larger project, right? A larger project to equal out balance between our countries and other countries. And that there just might be, there's going to be a little pain before the good time.
Classic. And honestly, he's right. Fixing the economy is like going to the gym after skipping for 6 months. You're gonna cry the next morning, but at least you're finally fixing something. Biden's approach was the opposite. Don't worry about the pain, just take this economic Advil and ignore the bones sticking out. That's why people appreciate Trump's transparency. He tells you the trade-off, then he actually delivers on the results.
And it's important to tell Americans inflation is compounding. So the 9% inflation we saw during the Biden administration, prices soaring, prices don't really go down. The hope is to increase wages, deregulation, cut taxes.
And that's what also the situation with the border is about. When you seal the border, when you start deporting people who are undercutting American working class wages, that is how you bring up wages. You can't have all this illegal labor willing to work for less than the American worker.
And I think what we saw this week was really President Trump leaning into the whole affordability. We listened to Zohran Mamdani talk about affordability as he was running for mayor. And now, of course, we can talk about whether that's going to wreck New York City or not. But the president leaned into the affordability, and he's put out not only the tariffs, but a handful of other things that he wants to do to make life more affordable for Americans. That includes the food import tariffs, obviously, but also a 50-year mortgage. That's an interesting idea.
I will have to admit, this is an interesting solution. A 50-year mortgage is definitely unconventional. But can we be honest? Young people today feel like they'll never own a house anyway. Biden turned the American dream into a luxury NFT. So at least Trump is proposing something. The critics say people will never pay it off. Well, people aren't buying anything right now. You can't pay off a house you can't even qualify for. Something has to change.
No one's thought about that. And $2,000 rebate checks for average Americans, middle class, lower income, that would get something back to try and help them to deal with costs. Here's President Trump talking about those rebate checks. Listen.
Some of the rebate checks, sir, how soon could Americans see those checks? Will that be in time for Christmas, holiday shopping?
No, not for this year. It'll be next year sometime.
Do you have a time frame? How many months?
Sometime during the year, next year. It's a lot of money, but we've taken in a lot of money from tariffs. The tariffs allow us to give a dividend if we want to do that. Now, we're going to do a dividend, and we're also going to be reducing debt. We have, because of Biden and others, we have $37 trillion in debt.
Oh, this is where they have like all the Trauman tribe comes out. Trump is now talking about reducing debt while giving Americans a dividend from tariff revenue. That's like telling Washington elites you're taking away their dessert tray. They live off endless spending. And now the government's like, hey, maybe we should spend less and give some of the money back to Americans. Revolutionary idea, apparently.
So we're going to be doing a dividend, which people will enjoy and spend and do what they want. But we're also going to be reducing debt very substantially.
And those checks are not going to be going to high-income earners.
Yeah, and they're not going to come before Christmas. They're going to come after. So maybe if you have that debt hangover, you might get a $2,000 check to help you. I'll tell you what else is going up, and I've noticed it a lot in my house. I'm buying tickets to bring kids back from college. Prices of airlines very
Somebody you can talk
right
to about
now.
that, perhaps?
No, he can't do anything about it. wish he could. He can't do anything about the high prices for housing as well.
Yeah.
And so one of the ways that the president says he wants to deal with this housing issue, because let's just set the stage here for a second. Young people are feeling like the American dream is out of their reach.
Right.
And this is why affordability matters. You can't build a country where a 28-year-old feels like owning a home is as realistic as owning a yacht. Trump's trying to reshape the system so people can actually start lives, not just survive paycheck to paycheck. People mock the 50-year mortgage idea, and sure, it's not perfect, but at least he's offering solutions. Biden's big housing plan was basically good luck out there, and that's why Trump keeps winning young voters, because he's actually acknowledging the problem and offering something, not pretending vibes will fix the economy.
And part of that is because the American dream has been sold around, having a family, having a home, things that all of us have right here on the couch. But if you're in your 20s, that might seem like something you can never achieve, because the average house of a price is so much more expensive now than it was back then when you compare it to your income.
50% higher than January of 2020.
Well, I think about the first house Sean and I bought in northern Wisconsin. Was $60,000.
Wow. A little cheaper than New Jersey?
It was a little cheaper, but Sean was making $30,000 at that time.
Right.
So, think about that. That's
it was affordable.
It was affordable. You could enter into that market. You can't anymore.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of criticism around this proposal for the 50-year mortgage, mainly because they worry that if it helped young people buy it, they'd never pay the thing off. Caroline Downey at National Review writing about it, that 50-year mortgage would make things worse for Gen Z. This is not the answer to the housing crisis. In the article, she writes, the buried lead is that those new buyers will likely never outright own their home that they live in debt-free. Those who commit to a 50-year mortgage would be paying mostly interest for over a decade.
Pretty much everyone in the comment section is being a little bit of a downer, in my opinion. Yeah, sure, paying interest for a decade isn't ideal. But you know what's worse? Renting for 30 years while your landlord buys their third vacation home. We've got real issues. High interest rates, low supply, insane regulations, and millennials hitting 40 with zero chance at buying anything except Uber Eats. If a 50-year mortgage opens the door, any door for them, at least it's a conversation worth having.
The 50-year mortgage is being marketed as a pain reliever to young people, but in many ways, it's just rubbing it in. The product would deny Gen Z the chance to build equity in a home, and with it, a sense of pride and attachment to one's community or anything approaching a reasonable timeline. I got to tell you, I still live in the house that my wife and I bought when we got married 26 years ago. I had a 30-year mortgage, and not too long ago, we actually paid the mortgage off. So I'm living debt-free in that house. And, when I hit that milestone in my life, I really felt like I'd achieved the American dream. And so her criticism has some merit to it, because if you think 50 years, with the young people having trouble buying houses now, they're not buying them until their 30s and beyond.
Right.
You're not going to pay a 50-year mortgage off in your lifetime. And
I think in the 70s, maybe the average person buying a home was probably the same age I was,
right.
around
late
20s.
Definitely.
And now you're approaching your 40s.
40.
Yeah.
And another criticism is interest payments. With
Yes.
a 50-year mortgage, you're going to double the amount you pay in interest over 50 years. That doesn't really help over the long
And people aren't getting out of their homes and into other homes and freeing them up for younger people to buy, because they might be in a mortgage right now that's 3%, and if they get out, they have the interest rate's much higher. So there's lots of issues, regulations.
People not getting married.
This is actually a great point wrapped in a joke. The affordability crisis isn't just about economics, it's social. People aren't getting married, starting families, and building communities because everything costs too much. Trump focusing on affordability, tariffs, rebate checks, housing, it's all connected. If people can't afford roots, they won't grow any. Biden never understood that. Trump actually does.
Not as much financial.
Banks and buying homes and not on as much supply. So there's a supply issue at the heart of this.
Big
Rachel
time.
is working on that marriage problem, though.
We've been working on this couch. But if you make the housing problem a little easier for them, maybe we will get them to get married.
I think it's part of the story.
All right.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up. Trump is actually taking real shots at this affordability crisis, not pretending it doesn't exist like the Biden administration did for 4 straight years. Cutting tariffs, pushing new ways for people to finally buy a home, sending out rebate checks. Whether you agree with every idea or not, at least he's trying to undo the economic wreckage we just lived through. Meanwhile, the media will keep gaslighting, keep saying inflation is down while you're paying double at the grocery store and can't even dream of buying a house. They live in a fantasy world. Trump is dealing with the real one. If you enjoy this breakdown, hit that like button so YouTube knows you're not a bot, drop a comment with your thoughts, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more reactions like this. We've got a busy year ahead and the debates are only getting hotter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and stay based.